brings raw, unfiltered conversations with individuals who have risen from hardship, embracing faith, strength, and purpose. Join us as we break the silence, uplift one another, and emerge stronger together. New episodes air Wednesdays at 6 p.m. English and Saturdays at 6 p.m. with select Saturdays in Creole for our Haitian audience.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome again for another segment of Emerge and Empower with your host, Dr. Lynn J., of course. All right. And as you know, we're here every week for healing because we want you to heal for real. You might hear me say this a lot in my episodes about healing for real is because it's one thing to say I want to be healed, but we don't take the necessary steps. It's one thing to talk about it, but not take the steps to get help to go beyond what you've unlocked. Because once you unlock certain things, it's not a pretty place to be. It's rather uncomfortable, even when it is time to share it with others. So this platform continues to have you to allow you to voice, all right, without judgment. And individuals come on every week with different things that they've emerged from. So you might say, I don't have that, but you do have a story. So Emerge and Empower is that platform for you to be able to come on and share your story with our viewing audience. Share it with the world. All right. And also it opens up for you to talk to your family members about it. I'm going to go on a set and here's what I'm going to share if you had not already shared it with them. So it actually allows you to be open with yourself. But the first thing I want you to do is to forgive yourself and all of this. Because if the guilt and the shame and all of that is there, then healing cannot happen. All right. It's like opening a wound that you did not stitch up and you did not care. And now it becomes infected. Okay. So you need to heal for real. So that's what Emerge and Empower is about. Simply put, come on here, share your story, and let's emerge stronger each and every day. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Go ahead and view, like, share all your groups, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever you have, share it. And if you don't have anything on social media, you can still share the link because you're watching me today. Obviously, you're watching from something. So you can go ahead and share it. And if someone does not have said device, YouTube is shareable. You can share any of the episodes from YouTube with individuals, even if they don't have Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. But YouTube link is shareable on any platform or via text message. So let's continue healing together. Pull that person up out of the rut and say, it's time to heal. There's something I want you to watch. Come and see what is being done on Emerge and Empower. Well, the next thing I want to remind everyone of is we have a six-week conference that is coming up from August 9th. August 5th to September 9th. August 5th to September 9th, where we're having a panelist of people. If you have a story to tell, it would not be a one-on-one interview. Some people like more panel setting, so they don't feel like they're the only one. So you have that opportunity to come in because I will be releasing my third book in the series, She Merging. This one is called Unholy at the Table. Yes. You heard it, unholy at the table. So I'm going to share a little bit more of my life. As you know, that is what I bring in. But also, we will also bring a continuation of that book, which is a workbook that you can use on many platforms, seminaries, teaching with your church. That is called The Table Restored. Because if we have unholy at the table, now we have to also talk about the restoration of it all. So come on in, go ahead and email us at emergeandempower@gmail.com and let us know that you saw it here and you would like to be a part of the She Mergence Conference. It's a virtual conference, so you can tap in wherever you are and connect with us all around the world. So we're going to take a break and we will be right back for our guests that will be sharing here on today.
Remember when coffee was just coffee? A routine sip, part of the 2 billion cups consumed daily, enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool every 3 minutes. Same old flavor, same old routine. For centuries, 75% of coffee drinkers have settled for mediocrity, masking the taste with sugar, syrups, and overpriced add-ons. But what if coffee didn't just promise to be amazing? What if it actually was? Introducing Alive Coffee, the first coffee that tastes as good as it makes you feel. Meet the coffee that thinks beyond the cup. Bold, smooth, alive. Made from expertly roasted top-quality beans, Alive Coffee is smooth, rich, and shockingly delicious. Stop drinking May, start drinking Alive. The coffee that delivers just like the 90% who won't start their day without it. Alive Coffee. Wake up, take over. Feel alive.
So on today, we will be bringing our guest that is none other than Leanna. And Leanna is a faith-led hypnotherapist and trauma recovery specialist with over a decade of experience helping clients heal anxiety, addiction, and emotional pain at the root. She blends subconsciousness reprogramming with spiritual insight to guide lasting transformation and inner peace. In this episode, Leanna shares how true healing begins beneath the surface by addressing the beliefs, wounds, and patterns stored deep within. Her approach offers a compassionate path to freedom, clarity, and emotional wellness for everyone ready to break the cycle and reconnect with their true self. Everyone, let's welcome Leanna to the set. Leanna, welcome to Emerge and Empower on today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lynn. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited to share and just let the conversation go, and in hopes to, for someone that needs it, will hear it and start their healing journey.
Yes, yes. So as everyone know, and this platform is about healing and to heal for real, because it's one thing to talk about it, and that takes a lot to be able to come on and just talk. Because sometimes people take years before they can share their story to the point that people say, well, why are you just telling this now? They carried it that long and they finally feel comfortable enough to release the pain and share it. So whenever that happened, we would like for you to be patient with individuals as they share their story, because once they start sharing their story, it's a wound that is open. Your reaction, all right, can really make an impact on their lives. So Leanna, we're going to dive right in. Introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Leanna Lapidus, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I heal the rooted underlying emotional hurt from childhood. I believe that most of our trauma stems from childhood and how we interpreted that situation that we were experiencing, and we plant the seed in our subconscious mind, in our being, and then that seed basically grows throughout our lifetime and becomes our identity. Our traumatic experience creates these limiting beliefs, ideas about what we deserve or who we are, and it becomes our truth.
Right.
And we live in that for a very, very long time until we face it. And I'll share about why I chose to do this work. Really is because I healed, and I believe that healing is possible for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can overcome whatever they're going through. And so I am, just a vessel to help people get to their truth and heal and recover, from all the wounds, from all the emotional pain they've been storing and living from.
Right.
So for as long as I remember growing up, I always felt a sense of not belonging. I always felt different. I always felt like I'm just what am I doing here? And I grew up feeling a lot of anxiety, with a lot of anxiety around me, a lot of fear, rage. There was, and all of this impacted me as a child. I understood this later, but the way it impacted me was full of fear and terror. And that became a very big emotion that I was carrying throughout my entire, years up until I was 30 years old. It made me feel less than. I felt so different from the rest. I felt like nobody understands me. I had very low self-esteem because of that, because of living in that environment. And, that created a very dark place inside of me where I just lived and isolated a lot. And, I struggled because I was in an environment where there was a lot of arguing and, throwing stuff around, and you never know, you have to walk on eggshells.
Mm-hmm.
And I became very sensitive. And what that looked like on the outside, I appeared very shy. But in reality, it wasn't because I was shy. I was just so scared of any energy that came around me, any person. So it shut me down. And then on top of it, parents just say things that impact us. They don't really say it in that moment to hurt us. But
Right.
the way my mother said, "You're shy, like you're awkward. What is wrong with you? Stop being like that," because I would hide behind her when we were around people, or, I would just get scared. I had so much fear.
Mm-hmm.
And, that shut me down even more. It made me feel even more different. And as I was growing and, developing, there was all of those things continued to linger and in fact become even bigger. The energy or the spirit of anger, the spirit of rage, the spirit of fear just became bigger. And I started to attract things and people and places in my life that would be similar to what I was feeling, because when we think we deserve nothing,
Right.
or we're not good enough, or we're not, good looking enough, we're not smart enough, we attract that which will confirm that to us,
Right.
other people or through circumstances. And so that continued and continued, and there was always this fear. And then, so I was born in Ukraine, and we came to the United States, to Los Angeles, when I was 8 years old, and my parents immediately went to work. So I basically grew up by myself, on my own. I went to my elementary school, I walked there and back, 8 years old, and cooked dinner and prepared. So I didn't really have any kind of, compassion or communication or acknowledgement of anything. They didn't know what homework I did.
Right.
We were kind of busy, figuring out how to live life in a new place. And my father struggled with alcoholism, and that's where, he became someone who he's not.
Right.
The spirit of addiction and alcoholism kind of took over, and it made him be the way he was.
Right.
With rage, and then my mother was full of fear. So I took in both of those, and both of those
Wow.
very opposite, but you take on what you're around. And I became that.
You become the product of your environment.
That's right. And until much later, is when I started working on myself. I had a lot of just negative things happen over and over. It was just like a domino effect. And I understand why now, and I'll get into that later, but it was just attracting the same thing over and over in different people in different situations. But the feeling felt similar, like nothing good can ever happen to me. I am different. Like I just wrote myself off. Like I don't even belong here. And it was devastating, truly. And the worst of the worst happened when I was about 19 years old. My mother was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and that was just so I was numb. I felt like I was paralyzed.
Hmm.
It's not that we were so close, but it was the only thing I had.
Right, right.
And the only thing I knew. And that was, and something that I remember feeling and knowing that I just knew that my mother was going to die soon, all my life. And then I was almost afraid of myself because I thought, if I know these things, then I'm like predicting all these negative things, negative energy, and so that was like a realization, but that helped me turn everything around, and I'll speak on that later. And so my mother went through her sickness, and I was by her side at 19 years old. Didn't really know what to feel and how to feel,
right,
and what was going to happen, and just like numb, going through the process of taking her to the doctors and going through that with her. And during that time I met my husband at the time. Now he's my ex-husband, but he came into my life, and he basically like that was my way out.
Okay.
That was my way
That was
out.
your escape.
That was my escape out of fear.
Yeah.
Because it just happened so fast, and I didn't know, but he had a heroin addiction that I didn't even understand. Like, I knew alcohol, but I didn't understand what heroin was. And so I just went into the arms of that, and I was pregnant 4 months at the time when my mother passed.
Wow.
So that was devastating and traumatic. And
my condolences to you on that as well.
Oh my goodness, thank you. This was years ago. This was already 32 years. My son is 32. So it was just, I always just felt like I'm just here to struggle, to suffer. I'm just like a nobody. Like, I just had all these terrible ideas and beliefs about myself, because this is like, that was reality, because that was the real life that I was living. And, then the journey kind of began, and a lot of things started to change and shift. And, the waking moment was when, after I already had my daughter at 27. So I had my son at 21. I had my daughter at 27. Still, the struggle was real. And I had nobody to turn to. My husband wasn't like someone that I could really lean on and feel safe with, even though, he was there. But there was a lot of things that happened with him. Then he wasn't around. He was taken away to prison for doing, doing stuff that was illegal. And I was left by myself. So my father already passed away as well. And I was, left by myself to run 2 businesses, have 2 small children. So I was around 29 years old at the time. And I still carried this fear and terror. Like, how am I, like, are you kidding me? Like, this, like, the worst can't happen, Now I have to figure how to raise my children by myself, how to pay the mortgage, run these businesses. And, I wasn't a believer of God, and because so many different dark things kept happening in my life, but somehow I said, God, either take me away from here or show me the way. And, something miraculous started to happen. People started entering my life that were so helpful that I was just amazed. Like, it couldn't be real. It didn't feel real. But then I thought, well, I asked God, maybe there is a God, right? And so I started this journey of seeking. Like I needed to figure it out. I had small kids. I, the idea that I would just leave them alone, what would they do?
Right.
You know, they don't have my parents, like nobody to take care of them. And so, I somehow, I was led. Well, I know that God was leading me the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that. But the way he led me was so patiently and compassionately, and had so much grace on me, and showed me that, he's doing the work. And first I was led to learning about law of attraction,
Mm-hmm.
right? And understanding, like, what you think about, you receive. And then the vibrational energy, like you have to feel it. And so it felt nice to think that way, because I had some sort of peace. I was experiencing some sort of peace
Mm-hmm.
when I thought positively. So
Right.
that was nice, but it was very short lived,
Mm-hmm.
the peace. And and then I came across this meditation practice called TM, Transcendental Meditation. It was pretty popular years ago. And
Okay.
so I said, I'm not like a meditator, but I feel drawn to it, because
Mm-hmm.
at the time I was doing yoga, and then the teacher who led the meditation practice, he was inviting everybody to his home to learn about it, to
Okay.
learn how it works and why it works. So I decided, I took a leap of faith and said, okay, I'm going to go try this. And that led me to practicing meditation, quieting the mind. And it led me to having visions of a totally different type of life than I was living.
Mm-hmm.
Some peace, great, some happiness, some joy, success. And I was like, how am I ever going to get there? That's not real.
Right.
And so that was I don't know when you want me to.
No, you're flowing
Yeah.
in your story. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So from then it was that practice. Of course, it wasn't just like this. Nothing was easy. I had to face the anger outburst that I was already experiencing through myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work on changing that. I had to work on my character, because I was raising my kids, and I didn't want them to be affected like I was affected with my parents' behavior. And so I understood that. Thank God I understood that. And
Mm-hmm.
at the time also, as I was practicing law of attraction, like I saw this vision of me helping people. Like, I'm like, how am I going to help people?
Right. Because you got to help yourself first.
Well, yeah, because I was still like trying, like, blind, like I couldn't see. I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And but I had those visions. And then I was led to hypnotherapy school, something that I didn't even think was a thing.
Right.
I filled out some questionnaire online. I was, okay, what career would I be good at? And it gave
Mm-hmm.
me different schools, like psychology school. I guess whatever my answers were, it felt
Right.
like I can be helpful to people, social working school, all kinds of schools in that realm, and then hypnotherapy school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't believe in that stuff. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me from the school and they said, hey, you're a great candidate for our school. And I started laughing, and they're like, well, and then I thought to myself, but law of attraction practice says that, you'll be led to things and places that you least expect, but that's like the stepping stone for where you're supposed to go.
Right. Because in
So
reality, you needed all the things that you were searching to help others. You actually needed yourself. And in so doing, because some people, here's what happened is, I would like to help others in this. Then there's something here. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, why do you feel you need to help people in this? Do you see yourself? Do you see your problem? What is it that you are dealing with? Because to help someone, you have to understand,
That's right.
okay, what they're going through. And when we push to our why, is because of the why not, because I need it. I will learn too. I will grow too. All right. So some people heal by doing. Let's put it that way. You
Oh,
actually
yeah.
have to start, okay, I'll do this because this will help people. Why? Because in truth, you're saying that to yourself. I need this help.
Yes. Yes, that is very true.
Hmm.
That's true. And I wanted to help people, and I had this like grounding energy about me, and I wanted to do that. Like, but I didn't know how am I going to do that if I can't even like control myself, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, so I was led to that. And as funny as I thought hypnosis or hypnotherapy was some like for, different type of people,
Hmm.
I kind of laughed at it. But then he's like, oh, you know what? Well, I'm going to offer you a month free. And if you don't like it, no obligation. I'm like, okay, I got to try this, right? I got to at least, take it off my list
Hmm.
if it's not something real. And then I walked into the school and I saw people that, you know, I hate to say it, at the time, I felt like they're kind of awkward, but I felt at home. But I felt at home there. I'm like, okay, I belong here. And from the first class, I was hooked because they started talking about the programming, the subconscious programming, how, our mind forms belief systems
Hmm.
and ideas about who we are and
Right.
how we create these narratives and stories. And I'm like, psh, like what? This is exactly where I need to be.
Hmm.
And so my healing journey began, and I forgot that I was studying to be helpful to someone else.
Right.
I
That's
was,
what I'm saying, because you need this.
yes, yes. So it was amazing. I worked with all the instructors that were leading the different types of classes and
Hmm.
types of NLP, inner child healing classes. So I got to experience each and every one of them every week for the entire year that I was in school. So I was really healing. And through my healing process, I, you know, I practiced a lot of compassion and forgiveness for my parents because, as wild as it sounds, but I had a lot of disappointment, and
Right.
I was upset with my mom for leaving me so early. I had resentment
Right.
around
You have
her
to
death.
deal with all of that.
Yeah. So I had to heal myself from the core. And
Hmm.
I love my parents. And I'm so grateful that I was led and put on the journey to be with them because I know God was preparing me the entire time to do the work that I do now for people,
Right.
with people.
Hmm.
So I had to face my demons, right? I had to face the fact that I don't like some of my characteristics.
Right.
I don't like that I react in anger. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like this. But I had to embrace it and I had to
Hmm.
take responsibility that
Take
now
responsibility.
it's not their fault that I'm like this. I'm like this because that's who I am now. And I have to deal with myself because blaming them is not going to help me
Right.
change and teach my kids different patterns. So it took a lot. It's not easy to face it and
Right.
admit something that you don't like about yourself, but
Hmm.
that is the first step to change,
Yes.
And so I did that, and the year wasn't, it was just the beginning. I mean, I've been in practice working with people for over like close to 15 years. So this,
Hmm.
this is every day I'm still healing.
Yes. Oh, healing is continuous. And you
Yes.
discover new things and you get the aha, now I understand, and wow. So you keep having these happening, and it's beautiful because it's unfolding. And every time it unfolds, you become better, a better version of yourself, not
That's right.
only to yourself, but to your family and to everyone around you. It's like night and day, to the point people's like, you're like a whole different person. Did you change your hair color?
Right,
What
right, right.
happened? What changed about you? But what it's you, the
That's
inner
the inner
person,
part.
the
That's
inner
right.
you.
The inner is what we need to heal and go to and nurture and
Right?
love and understand, but also discipline,
Yeah.
disciplining, because if we don't have the discipline, we're not going to be able to change.
Right.
And but these are all things it's really hard to accept, because for me, what was hard in that moment was when I didn't know how to do it,
Right.
how to heal.
That's where the frustration
That's
comes in.
where the frustration is for a lot of people. But then when I'm like, here, this is what we're gonna do, and we'll heal you. This is how you're actually gonna heal. We don't know the steps, and we don't see a way out.
Right.
And so that's where people get stuck, because they feel like, if I don't know how to get out of it, then I might as well just stay there, because
Hmm.
the fear of going into the unknown and not knowing is where it really holds people from moving forward and trying
Right.
to heal. So so these are the steps I've taken. And the addiction recovery piece, and why I'm passionate about it, I mentioned my father struggled with alcoholism,
Right.
then my husband with addiction, and I've just been around it all my life. And then when my son was struggling, I looked at addiction very differently until it was my child.
Right.
I was angry at it. I was like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? But my God changed that for me
Hmm.
when I had to get my son out of it. And God showed me that I have to be compassionate and
Right.
loving and understanding. And He showed me that that is not my son, it's the spirit
That's it.
that enters the person.
Yes.
So I'm not judging the behavior anymore.
Hmm.
I'm just looking at the true person.
Right.
And that's how I work with my clients in healing, in
Hmm.
the healing process now. And
Right.
so, but God revealed that to me through my own child.
Right.
And so through that experience, I volunteered where my son was healing, and I've started volunteering hypnotherapy groups, which I never thought that I was going to become a hypnotherapist and do this
Hmm.
work. But I loved it. And that's where I felt the most at peace. That's where I started to feel so connected
Hmm.
and understood.
Like you
Remember,
found your niche.
I found my purpose.
Hmm.
Yes. I found like where I really understand people and where I feel understood as well,
Hmm.
because I struggled with that all my life. And so from there, I said, okay, hypnotherapy, practice is not something that people hire for.
Right.
Very rarely. Now it's coming around a lot more because people are realizing how powerful it is.
Hmm.
But at the time, I had to search. So I searched and I said, I'm going to try to look for a hypnotherapy job.
Hmm.
And I looked on Craigslist at the time, and there was a post for a job opening as for a hypnotherapy position in Passages Malibu Treatment Center. It's a renowned treatment center for people struggling with
Hmm.
addiction and recovery. And I never heard of it because I just didn't know much about Malibu at the time. But I went for an interview, and I connected with the owner, because he started this rehab because of his son's recovery. And so we bonded on that, with through our children. And I didn't have any experience really. But he said, "What are you in recovery from?" I said, "Negative thinking." It just came out, you know. And he said, "You are hired. When can you start? Can you work full time?" And I'm like, "What? Really?" And so I worked there for 10 years. And eventually I became a spiritual counselor there as well, helping people just wherever they are in their spiritual journey,
Right.
connect with their truth. And so, yeah, here I am, in practice, and I help people, and people come to me with all kinds of things, that they're struggling with,
Right.
from addiction to depression to anxiety to, relationship issues. And
Right.
I just go to the core, to the deep roots, and work in a new way of thinking and feeling about yourself and healing.
Right.
I do a lot of inner child healing work through that process. So, yeah, so here I am.
So I'm glad you said inner child, because what people don't realize is most of the things we are reacting from in our adulthood and all the things that we're doing, they started from your childhood,
Yeah.
right? And you can see that something triggered in your childhood, a doorway opened, something happened
Yes.
that brought this in, because nobody's just born, oh yeah, your spirit is just some kind of way. Your environment, we become products of our environment. Okay, it's just like if you get up every day and you eat ice creams, I mean, that's your life. Do you become what you eat. And so we're not physically eating what's in our environment, but we are internalizing, right? We are holding on to a lot of it. And sometimes you might think that you're disassociating
Mhm.
because you put it away. And then later on, you're triggered because you might have a mind that you want to do better. You might have a mind that, you know what, I do not want to be like, my family members. I don't want to be like my environment, my neighborhood, and I'm better than that. That's your mind saying that. But you first have to free yourself from that in order to get, because many times they say you could take someone out of the country, right? But when they get to the city, they have to reprogram their mind for the city lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay, if not, they're gonna continue doing the same thing that they did in the city, in the country, in the city. So it's the same way if someone was in an abusive relationship, or it started from home, the father, the mother, because it goes both ways, right? That child ends up, like you said, getting attracted to what they were used to. That was normal. All
Yeah.
right. And so you find it's a continuation of what stemmed again from the childhood. And now you're like, why do I keep, people say this and I hear it all the time. Why do I always attract the same women? Or why do I always attract the same men? But you have to go back and see where that's stemming from. What was it like in your childhood? What was the relationship? Was there an absentee parent? Children who had to learn on their own because the parent is out of the house, like you said, doing your homework, cooking for yourself at 8 year old. Those are things that 8 year old should not have had to deal with. To be nurtured, to be loved, okay? That became lacking, and then now you're feeling insufficient, not good. Like you having all of these things going on, and it's going on now, 19. Then your mom is diagnosed, and then she passed. So you're still dealing, like, the two people that at least was stable, I know was gonna come home at night, that was the norm in my life. Now it's shifted. And so it's like, what do I do? What do I do in my life? What do I do now? Okay. So you have all these questions, you're lost, still trying to find yourself. And what we start to do is continue existing, not living,
Right.
continue existing. And
Yes.
so now you're attracted to your husband who had a whole different addiction. See, it didn't matter what the addiction was.
It's the spirit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, it didn't matter, because it, again, it's that same spirit, it's in that person. So you're attracted to the same thing, unbeknownst to you, that addiction was a whole different ball game, and you had to deal. but you already coping as a child.
Yeah.
Okay, with parents. So now you're an adult. Again, you're connecting. Okay, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to cope. I'm going to do what I have to do. So you continued existing. Okay, I have the kids. My focus is that. I'm going to focus my energy. I'm going to go to work again, but you're still not healed. You're still going through the motions, right?
Right.
And now, of course, the opposite is going to attract you as far as I want to heal. I want people to get better. Why? Because you want to get better.
That's right.
You
Yes.
know, why do you do this? People say, but what's your why? Well, why? I really don't know. Yes, it stemmed from your childhood. It stemmed from the things that was in your life. Whatever was lacking, we gravitate to try to get something better to see if, what, if I do this and I help people, maybe I'll feel better about myself.
Mm.
One.
Mhm.
Right? And if I feel better about myself because I helped someone, then wow, that's great. I did something good. But then the truth is, when you start peeling those layers, you need it,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Very.
you're still healing. As your clients are healing, there are things that you probably journeyed through with them, because what people don't understand is when you journey through with your client or an individual, you two are going through that healing process
Yes.
at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
not one way,
Right.
and no two experiences the same. It might seem similar, but each individual is different, how they react, the environment that they come from. There's so much that's involved more than just the trauma itself. The environment, the family makeup. Is this in your bloodline? Right?
Right.
All of this are factors that you have to deal with. So you're not just helping the individual heal themselves, you actually going back generations, you
Yeah.
know, so that they can move forward and be better for the next and their children to be better. So it's all generational, because people look at everything physical, and I'm telling you, don't take it so literal. It's
Right.
actually spiritual. We're all spiritual beings.
Spiritual. It's absolutely spiritual. It's all spiritual.
Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I see that. I know that, and I definitely live by that.
Hmm.
I didn't understand it, but I do for a very, very long time. It's all spiritual,
Hmm.
and that's a big part of my work, is teaching and training my clients to understand what is happening with them and in
Right.
them, so that they can step in and battle it, because the things that are happening in our mind, nobody really knows about, only we do. So that's until you get the tools and you really learn how to step in, and fight the battle. It's a
Right.
spiritual warfare constantly.
Constant.
It's constant, and it's going to happen because we're alive. Well, until we're alive, it's going to continue. We
Right.
just
As
have to
long as we're
learn.
alive. Hmm.
We have to learn how to battle, and it's the battle of the mind is what we need to equip and learn the tools how to manage it.
Hmm.
It's not something that we can just breathe away. you
Nope.
know it's something that we need to understand, that there's a spiritual warfare, but that there's ways to fight it, to stand against it, to go against it, right?
Right.
But people got to understand. And so I love faith-led hypnotherapy is something recent for me.
Okay.
Actually, I've been doing it for a long time, but I've just kind of
You
stepped in.
just have a name.
I just got the name for it. Yeah, because I've been doing it for a long time. My goal was always to lead my client, my patient, the client, to their truth.
Right.
And what is the truth? It's the way, right? So when we are in our truth, we see the way.
Hmm.
And so what I do with my hypnotherapy, and every hypnotherapist has their own approach and their own way of doing it.
Hmm.
I help them quiet the mind so that they can enter their own spirit
Right.
and feel that profound inner peace and feel safe. And when they're in there, they see things completely different on the outside of in their life.
Right.
So they're able to really understand the war and the battle that they're going through internally, because once they're in that place of truth,
Mm-hmm.
I help them see their fear, like literally through an image. I mean, they have an image of it. They have the energy, the size, the color, and they're able to see it. So they're feeling more empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can see something, then who are you, the seer, right?
Right.
You're the one who can empower that, overpower that. So then there's the, energy, the spirit of addiction, the spirit of anger, the spirit, and these are all things that,
Yeah.
they can see when they're living, when they're deep in their truth, in when their mind is quiet.
Right. Right.
So that's the meat of my work, and that's why the people come out living from their, peace and feel equipped,
Right.
because they know that it's there, because they've seen it.
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
they've entered it. And teaching how to, and everybody's on a different spiritual journey and different levels, and so wherever someone is, I guide them to where it's appropriate for that individual,
Mm-hmm.
because it's something that develops over time. I know that because I wasn't there either myself.
Okay.
I got there through healing, through learning, through having my own spiritual counsel that guided me, So I know
Everybody needs that. Everybody needs to have a spiritual counsel. Everybody
everybody.
needs someone to go to, a mentor, a leader. You need someone. You can't go through the journey alone, definitely.
No, no. But that was something that I had to battle and fight with, because growing up the way I did, I didn't trust anybody, because when we're wounded, we don't trust people. How can we trust people when we're hurt by the people that are supposed to love us? So for me, reaching out to someone was really difficult at first, because I just didn't have the trust. I would rather read a book and study it myself and understand it than go and sit with somebody and tell them my feelings. So that's something also, I understand, and I want people to know that they're not alone in that.
Right.
I always say, like, if you're seeking and you come across someone that just feels like they understand you, just stick to them and continue working with them, because we can't walk this life alone, and
No,
we can't, because
no,
we don't know everything.
no, no. Well, we are about to close now. So, Leanna, what are any closing remarks you will say to someone who are not sure on how to move forward in that journey of healing? What would be your advice to them?
I would just say, first of all, know that healing is possible for you 100%, 100%. And take the first step. The first step is, what can I do to start healing? And let that answer just come to you. And that's the first step that you're supposed to take. Don't worry about the next step. The next step will show up once you've taken the first step. And again, I just want to encourage everybody that, you might think that there's no hope for you and you're just different. Well, yes, you can feel like that, but you can heal and you can overcome whatever you're struggling with. You can overcome it.
All right, so you heard it here with Leanna here on Emerge and Empower. And if that person is you, whether you're watching today, whether you're watching next week, whether it's a year later, maybe it's 3 years later that you've seen this, whatever time you're watching this, this is a message directly to you. And it is time for healing and to embrace that, because healing is beautiful, okay? Healing is beautiful and it's very liberating. The weight, when I tell you the weight comes off, you can hear better, see better. Everything is so much better when you're on the other side from that hurt. So I'm going to close off now with a prayer, and so that this can actually seal the deal for you, to know that there is help for you. All right. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for you came to set the captives free. And those who you set free are free indeed. There are many on today, Father God, who are seeking healing, not sure. They're afraid. They're scared. They don't want to deal with the ugliness of it all. They would rather leave it alone, but at the same time, it is hurting them. It is really detrimental to their life. On today, we ask that this same peace that surpasses all understanding come to this individual right now as they're watching. May that wave of healing, that wave of peace come over them, that they can say, now I finally feel that I can talk about it and begin this journey to healing, not only today, but until Christ's return. Amen. Thank you so much, Leanna, for
Thank
being
you.
on the set. And we look forward. We will stay in touch. I will have all her links in the bio, where to find her, how you can connect. And if you find Leanna relatable, you can just reach out to her anytime. It's social media, anytime.
Yeah,
It doesn't
please.
matter what time, you can reach out.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Leanna.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. So we just want to thank you as we had another successful episode here on Emerge and Empower. And we want to thank you once again for watching. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and just, heal. It's time to heal. Let's do this for real. Do not end 2025 with shoulda, coulda, woulda. Just get it done. Let's start now. There are people available to help you. If there aren't any in your community, there are people online. There are groups. There's help, all right? There is help out there, and you are not in this alone. So, bye-bye for now. Until next week.
Remember when coffee was just coffee? A routine sip, part of the 2 billion cups consumed daily, enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool every 3 minutes. Same old flavor, same old routine. For centuries, 75% of coffee drinkers have settled for mediocrity, masking the taste with sugar, syrups, and overpriced add-ons. But what if coffee didn't just promise to be amazing? What if it actually was? Introducing Alive Coffee, the first coffee that tastes as good as it makes you feel. Meet the coffee that thinks beyond the cup. Bold, smooth, alive. Made from expertly roasted top-quality beans, Alive Coffee is smooth, rich, and shockingly delicious. Stop drinking May, start drinking Alive. The coffee that delivers just like the 90% who won't start their day without it. Alive Coffee. Wake up, take over.